If we can spend $9 billion a month in Iraq, we can spend a few $1 million for that school at J.B. Martin so our children can succeed.
In his 2004 presidential campaign, Barack Obama addressed the issues of what is known as South Carolina's Corridor of Shame. This region, located along Interstate 95, is an area of rural school districts that lack adequate funding from the state of South Carolina. While urban schools most certainly face a myriad of issues, rural schools have unique needs. As such, education researchers and reformers must stop approaching rural issues from an urban perspective. The question of whether the local, state, or federal government should take charge of these chronic problems arises, but while the politicians deliberate, students continue to do without. In these schools, basic necessities such as tables and central heating are absent. Also missing from these images are fundamental classroom technologies. Technology has been shown to correlate to higher success and graduation rates in high schools across the nation. In South Carolina, just over half of the state's rural students graduate from high school, a rate lower than all other states. Nebraska's rural schools also demonstrate how underfunded rural schools fall below adequately funded suburban schools.
An example of technology use in the math classroom setting is the calculator, which acts as an aid in two ways. Psychologically, the ability to use a calculator acts as a confidence booster. Research suggests that tools like calculators engage students and encourage them to, quote, get over passive learning attitudes towards mathematics. And in the terms of computation, essentially calculators can eliminate errors with basic concepts like arithmetic to make harder math more accessible. Smartboards are a popular tool for teachers to aid their students with learning. Smartboards allow the students and teachers to work and display with more of an interactive manner. The screens let users draw and point out while working simultaneously. Other tools have been created to assist education, such as online courses and homework. They allow a more organized way to find what is needed and to keep track of what you need to do and what has already been done. And technology overall aids education for all learners, whether they're a visual learner, auditory learner, or kinesthetic learner.
The American Research Journal quotes a study that determined, with regard to technology itself, laptops are portable. In a school setting, they can be carried from class to class, used on top of a desk, transported all around the room, or placed out of sight. They can be stolen, dropped, shared, customized, or confiscated. At a moment's notice, a student can pull a computer out from her backpack, lift the cover, and make the tool part of the classroom environment. Because students can own their laptops, they are often used as personal repositories for strong information and as tools for organizing students' daily schedules. Portability combined with ownership means that the students will have the same set of tools and products of work available to them throughout the school day, as well as at home. Due to the rising demand and interest in computers, even literature is being taken over by technology. Most books can be read electronically, and a large majority of writings are done digitally. Users have more access to writings globally and can share their own works more easily. For the authors, technology brought certain word processing programs to computers that aid in composing documents, especially in a classroom environment. Academic writing is an example of an educational aspect which would be inefficient without the use of technology. If we did not have the digital word processing that we have today, creating essays would be much more difficult. Without word processing technologies, the revision process would be less efficient and more time-consuming, and that editing hand or typewritten copies would require a totally fresh start with each draft. Word processing has other uses in literature, such as spell check, thesaurus, and more efficient formatting.
One other example of technology that has a place in education is texting. This application has its supporters as well as those who find it a bad influence on school-age children and their literacy skills.
In class, after class, on weekends, texting is the way a majority of teens communicate.
I probably spend at least like 30 text messages a day.
But understanding the way teens communicate may be like deciphering a secret code.
IDK for I don't know. Between is like BTW, LL, laugh out loud.
Kids use numbers for letters, spell words incorrectly, even make up their own abbreviated form of the English language.
Just like random words that hopefully my friends can figure it out. But
Critics say text messaging is dumbing down the language, but some teachers say it's just another example of how fluid the English language is.
I think the English language is getting compressed all the time anyway.
As the video suggests, there is a fear that texting, this application of technology in the classroom, is a danger to proper language, in that logograms, emoticons, and acronyms are becoming too embedded in our vocabulary, and that the shortness of text dialogue could adversely affect thinking patterns. However, it has been shown that texting encourages increased language use for leisure activity when compared with video games and television, and it also encourages better information synthesis.
Nor am I going to talk about what I think are obvious statements from my first book, Silicon Snake Oil, or the second book, nor am I going to talk about why I believe computers don't belong in schools. I feel that there's a massive and bizarre idea going around that we have to bring more computers into schools. My idea is no, get them out of schools and keep them out of schools. And I'd love to talk about this, but I think the argument is so obvious to anyone who's hung around a fourth grade classroom that it doesn't need much talking about. But I guess I may be very wrong about that and everything else that I've said, so don't go back and read my dissertation. It probably has lies in it as well.
The speaker has a valid opinion, given some of the very real drawbacks to increased technology use in the classroom. Some of these drawbacks include a large cost involved in investing in the technology itself, its upkeep, and the training required to help students and teachers learn to use it, money that could be put to other uses. Increased screen time, which can pose health risks as well as increased dependence on these kinds of tools, fear and reluctance on the part of the students and teachers to put the technology to its best use, and the technical inability to do so.
However, in conclusion, technology opens opportunities to access more resources than would be viable otherwise. Access to technologies like calculators, computers, smartboards, etc. have proven to play a large role in student success.